Hope Lives in Motion, Julian Clark. The night of our engagement party was supposed to be a celebration, a moment to cherish, but it took an unexpected turn when my fiancé, a dedicated doctor, abruptly left after receiving a phone call. Initially, I assumed it was a matter of life and death, perhaps an emergency surgery that required his immediate attention. I didn't hold it against him. I stayed behind to offer my apologies to our guests, feeling the weight of disappointment settle heavily in my chest. As I finally made my way home, exhaustion wrapping around me like a thick blanket, I stumbled upon a tweet that shattered my world. A picture posted by his secret crush, a woman I had known existed but had tried to ignore, appeared on my screen. Under the vibrant bursts of fireworks lighting up the night sky by the sea, there was Bennett Webster, his profile unmistakable, his smile radiant and unfamiliar. It was a smile that seemed to suggest a joy I had never been able to evoke in him. In that instant, I made a decision. I walked away, convinced I would never see him again. But fate had other plans. It was in the bustling hallway of a hospital in Berlin, amidst the sterile scent of antiseptic and the hurried footsteps of medical staff, that I looked up and there he was. The man I once loved stood before me, disheveled, desperate, and whispering my name as if it were a lifeline. "Maddie, please come home with me." I had never seen him appear so gentle, so vulnerable. 5 years ago, when our paths first crossed, he was my father's attending physician. He had delivered the devastating news with clinical precision, informing me that my father's heart condition was dire, that he might not survive the month. In that moment, I felt my world shatter, tears streaming down my face. But Bennett, stoic and composed, offered no solace. He didn't even hand me a tissue. At that time, I perceived him as cold, devoid of any empathy. Yet, as time passed, I began to recognize the layers beneath his exterior. During my frequent trips to grab food, I would return to find Bennett quietly peeling fruit for my father and filling his glass with water. On those long, sleepless nights, he would check on my dad every 20 minutes, his silhouette a comforting presence in the dim light of the hallway. He even noticed the strain in my wrist from typing too much and left ointment for me, a silent act of care that spoke volumes. After we became a couple, his thoughtfulness remained unchanged. He wasn't one for many words, but his actions conveyed a depth of affection that I cherished. He remembered the foods I couldn't eat, kept track of my cycle, and surprised me with tickets to see my favorite musicals. So, when my best friend voiced her doubts about his feelings for me, I defended him fiercely. Bennett just doesn't express his emotions easily. He might not smile often, but he genuinely cares about me, I insisted, my voice steady. She shook her head, unconvinced. "Madeline, when someone loves you, you see it reflected in their eyes. But when Bennett looks at you, it's like he's staring through you, there's nothing there." I dismissed her concerns, brushing them off as unfounded, until the moment I saw that photograph today. It was then that I truly grasped the meaning of love as it should be seen. In that image, Bennett wore the very coat I had draped over him as he hurried away from our celebration. I switched off my phone, inhaling deeply in an attempt to calm the storm of emotion swirling in my chest. Dawn arrived, and still, he hadn't returned. When he finally walked through the door and spotted me sitting on the couch, a hollow shell of myself, he froze in place, surprise etched across his features. "You've been sitting here all night? Why didn't you change or go to bed?" he asked, concern lacing his voice. I lifted my gaze, fatigue weighing heavily on my eyelids. "You left without a word. No calls, nothing. How was I supposed to sleep?" 6 months prior, a devastating mudslide had struck a village in a nearby city, and Bennett had been dispatched to help. He left so suddenly that I didn't receive a single message from him. For an entire week, I was left in the dark, my sleep a distant memory until he finally called to assure me he was safe. After that harrowing experience, he had promised to always keep me informed about where he was going. Now, he averted his gaze, a flicker of guilt crossing his face. "There was an emergency surgery. I didn't have time to call," he replied, his voice lacking conviction. His clumsy excuse sank like a stone in my heart. I chose not to confront him about the lie. Instead, I simply nodded. "Okay. As long as you're okay, I murmured, turning toward the stairs, wanting to escape the suffocating tension. But as I walked past him, a powerful scent of freesia enveloped me, pulling me back momentarily, reminding me of the complexities of love and the fragility of trust. Once I stepped out of the shower, the steam still clinging to the air, I settled down at my desk to respond to an email that had been lingering in my inbox. It was a recommendation from my mentor, a week-old gem offering me a chance to apply for a painting instructor position at the University of the Arts Berlin. The thought of it sent a thrill through my veins. It was a rare opportunity, one that could change everything. I recalled the moment when I had chosen love over my career, a decision I had made with my heart rather than my head. Back then, the allure of Bennett's charm had seemed irresistible, and I had believed in our future together. But now, with the sting of disappointment fresh in my mind, I realized how naive I had been. With a deep breath, I filled out the application, pouring my hopes into each carefully crafted sentence before sending it off into the digital ether. Then, exhausted from the emotional roller coaster, I crawled into bed, hoping for a peaceful night's sleep. When I finally stirred, the sun had dipped below the horizon, and the room was bathed in the warm glow of evening light. As I rubbed the sleep from my eyes, I spotted Bennett standing in front of the mirror, meticulously tying his tie. He wore a black coat that I had rarely seen him don, and a subtle smile played on his lips, one that seemed almost foreign to me. "Where are you headed?" I inquired, my curiosity piqued. He paused, and for a fleeting moment, the smile faded, replaced by a shadow of something I couldn't quite identify. "Just a last-minute class reunion," he replied, his tone casual but his eyes betraying a hint of something deeper. "I couldn't cook, so I ordered takeout for you. Don't forget to eat," he added, grabbing his keys with a sense of urgency before slipping out the door without another word. I stood there, watching him leave, a mix of confusion and concern swirling within me. The quiet of the apartment enveloped me, amplifying the silence that followed his departure. As the clock ticked toward 11 p.m., the weight of his absence grew heavier. My phone buzzed, jolting me from my thoughts. It was another post from Charlene Morrow, and I felt a knot form in my stomach as I clicked on it. My first love drove me home, and his car broke down. Is fate trying to bring us together? The accompanying photo showed Bennett, looking dapper in his black coat, engrossed in a phone call beside his car. The flood of comments from their college friends was overwhelming. Charlene and Bennett were the ultimate power couple. "Can't believe they're reconnecting after all these 10 years, one exclaimed. I still remember him standing in the rain for an afternoon, begging her to stay. So intense, another added, and I felt a pang of jealousy twist in my gut. Wow, strong couples find their way back to each other, someone else chimed in. True love wins, another comment echoed, and I could almost hear the collective sighs of nostalgia from their friends. Someone had even shared a link to Reddit discussing their relationship, and I clicked it, my heart racing. The article detailed Charlene and Bennett's 3-year romance, recounting how they had started as rivals in college, always vying for the top academic spot. Eventually, against all odds, they had ended up together, a perfect match for 4 blissful years. But then came the twist. After graduation, Charlene had moved abroad, and on the day she left, Bennett had stood outside her dorm in the pouring rain, pleading for her to stay. She hadn't. I struggled to reconcile the Bennett they described with the man I knew. The image of him, drenched and desperate, seemed so far removed from the confident man I had come to love. I closed my phone, my chest tightening with a mix of pain and disbelief. No wonder he never spoke of the past. How could he ever truly love someone else after such a profound connection? I recalled the way he had smiled at himself in the mirror, and a saying floated into my mind, "If I'm seeing you at 4, I'm already smiling at 3. Just then, my phone rang, breaking the silence. It was Xavier Turner, Bennett's best friend, and I could tell from the slurred speech that he had been drinking. "Congrats, Benny. You finally got Lena back." "I knew you were waiting for her," he slurred, his words tumbling out in a drunken haze. At that moment, Bennett walked back in, his presence filling the room. He kicked off his shoes and stepped inside, his brow furrowing as he noticed me holding the phone. "Who are you talking to?" he asked, his expression unreadable. Without hesitating, I switched the call to speakerphone, my heart racing as I did so. Xavier continued, oblivious to the tension in the room. "All these years you didn't marry Madeline. Wasn't it just because you were waiting for Lena? Now that she's back, stop waiting. Get back with her before you lose your chance again. I still remember our promise, when you and Lena get married, I'll be your best man." As his words hung in the air, I turned to Bennett, my gaze steady. "Your friend was trying to reach you. He called me by mistake," I said calmly, though my heart was anything but. The atmosphere in the room shifted, a heavy silence enveloping us like a thick fog. Bennett's face tightened, a flicker of tension crossing his features. He stepped closer to me, his hand reaching out to take the phone from my grasp, decisively ending the call. "He's drunk and rambling nonsense. You shouldn't give it any thought," he said, his tone firm yet laced with an undercurrent of concern. "Really?" I replied softly, my voice barely above a whisper. "Then who exactly is Charlene?" For a moment, Bennett was caught off guard, his silence stretching uncomfortably between us. "She's just a girlfriend from college. She recently transferred to our hospital after studying abroad." Xavier must have heard some rumors and jumped to conclusions, he explained, his voice steady but lacking the warmth I craved. "It's all in the past. Don't dwell on it," he added, attempting to brush it all aside. I lowered my gaze, my heart heavy with bitterness. An ex-girlfriend he abandoned our engagement party for, someone he postponed our wedding for. And he claims it's all behind him? I thought, anguish clawing at my insides. Was he trying to deceive me, or was he trying to deceive himself? The questions spiraled in my mind, but I kept them to myself as I moved past him toward the sanctuary of my studio. "Maddie?" Bennett called out again, his voice tinged with an urgency that I found hard to ignore. I turned to face him, my heart racing. "When did we reschedule the wedding for?" he inquired, his brow furrowing in confusion. Without thinking, the date slipped from my lips. "The 3rd of next month." Then it hit me like a cold wave, that was the day I was leaving for abroad. I opened my mouth to explain, but the words faltered on my tongue. Maybe it was better for Bennett to discover that there was no wedding on the day I departed. The following morning, as I stepped out of the studio, the first light of dawn painted the sky in soft hues of orange and pink. Bennett had already left for work, leaving the house quiet and still. On the living room table, breakfast was laid out meticulously, accompanied by a sticky note that read, "Eat it before you eat." In the 5 years of our relationship, this consideration was a hallmark of Bennett's nature. Yet, beneath that layer of care, I had always sensed an unspoken distance between us, an invisible wall that I had never fully understood until now. His quiet demeanor wasn't a natural trait, it was a reflection of the emptiness he felt in our connection. All the justifications I had crafted in my mind for his behavior had become a cruel joke after he left me at our engagement party for Charlene. I set the note aside, my phone suddenly buzzing to life. It was my agent, Martina Wagner. "Maddie, are you available today? Someone is insisting on purchasing the centerpiece painting from your exhibition. Can you come down?" she asked, her voice brisk and businesslike as soon as I answered. I hesitated, the weight of her words hanging in the air. The centerpiece was the first painting I had ever created of Bennett, a view of his back, the way he stood so confidently, unaware of the turmoil he had caused. Before the show, I had told Martina that I wouldn't part with that particular piece, that it held too much significance. But now, the thought of keeping it felt hollow. "Just sell it," I replied, my voice steady but devoid of emotion. "Sell all the paintings related to Bennett, actually." Martina's shock was palpable through the line. "What's going on? First the wedding, and now this. Did you and Dr. Webster have a fight?" I managed a weak smile, though it felt more like a grimace. "No. I just finally see things clearly. The things I once valued have never truly mattered, I confessed, the truth cutting deeper than I expected. At least, I had never mattered to Bennett, but I kept that part to myself. There was a brief silence on the other end. Okay. I understand, Martina finally said, her voice softer now. After we hung up, the doorbell rang, breaking the tension in the air. Our wedding photos had arrived from the bridal shop, and I felt an unsettling mix of anticipation and dread as I opened the package. Bennett stood there in his black suit, his expression cool and detached, almost as if he were a stranger. I wore my white dress, radiating joy, my arm linked through his, but as I looked closer, I realized the truth. There wasn't a hint of happiness on Bennett's face. He looked utterly unfulfilled in our wedding photo. The irony struck me like a dagger. So this was the image of a man marrying the wrong woman. I left the photo in a corner, the weight of it too much to bear, and retreated to my studio. The space was filled with sketches and paintings of Bennett, each one a testament to a love that had now turned sour. A half-finished drawing still lingered on the easel, a reminder of what once was. Each image felt like a heavy stone pressing down on my heart, suffocating me with memories. Now, I finally understood my teacher's warning about never painting someone as we wished them to be. What I had thought was a portrait of him was truly a reflection of my own heart, longing and aching for something that never existed. My hands trembled as I gathered every drawing I had created of him, each one a fragment of my shattered dreams. The last one was from his birthday last year, a moment I had cherished, now tinged with regret. I carried the stack to the backyard, my heart pounding as I struck a match. The flames danced hungrily, consuming the paper, burning away his handsome face and what remained of my heart. "Goodbye, Bennett," I whispered to the fire, my tears mingling with the embers, a bittersweet farewell to the love I once held dear. My phone buzzed again, pulling me from my reverie. It was a text from Bennett. "Maddie, emergency surgery. Won't be home. Eat something." I clenched the phone tightly, my heart aching, but I didn't reply. Martina called again, her voice tinged with urgency. "Maddie, my son is sick. I have to go to the hospital. But the buyer needs the painting tonight. Can you drop it off? I'll send you the address." I glanced at the dying fire, the ashes swirling in the breeze. "Okay," I replied, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. I extinguished the flames, gathered my things, drove to the gallery, picked up the painting, and headed to the address Martina had sent. I knocked on the door, the painting cradled in my arms, my heart racing with anticipation and dread. A woman's voice called from inside, "Betty, can you get that? It must be my painting." I froze, the name hanging in the air like a specter. Before I could gather my thoughts, the door swung open. Bennett stood in the doorway, dressed casually, a stark contrast to the man I had once known. We stood there, locked in a moment that felt like an eternity, with Bennett caught in the doorway, his expression a mix of surprise and uncertainty. A thick silence enveloped us, as if the air itself was holding its breath, waiting for the first words to break the tension. Just as I anticipated his voice, the sound of footsteps echoed from within the apartment, pulling my attention away from the charged atmosphere between us. Charlene emerged, draped in a soft cream nightgown that flowed around her like a gentle cloud. Her eyes lit up when they fell upon the painting cradled in my arms. "Oh, my painting has finally arrived. Benny, please invite this lovely lady inside," she said, her voice warm and inviting. "Thank you for delivering it so late," she continued, her smile brightening the dimly lit hallway. "Please, come in for a moment. Can I offer you something to drink?" I couldn't help but feel a pang of discomfort. Charlene was the one who had commissioned the painting, and her enthusiasm was palpable. "That's all right," I replied, shaking my head as I shifted the painting to my other arm. My job was just to deliver it. I should really be on my way. As I turned to leave, Bennett finally found his voice, a hint of urgency in his tone. "Wait." I didn't look back, stepping into the elevator, my heart racing. As the door slid shut, I leaned against the cold, unyielding metal wall, finally allowing my fingers to release their tight grip. I winced as I noticed the crescent-shaped indents my nails had left in my palms, a physical reminder of my anxiety. Bennett, who had texted me just an hour before about a late surgery, was now here with Charlene. What were they doing together tonight? What had transpired just moments before I had rung the doorbell? My thoughts spiraled, each one more frantic than the last, compelling me to walk faster and faster away from the building, as if distance could somehow erase the gnawing questions in my mind. I barely reached the sidewalk when I heard Charlene's voice calling out behind me. Wait! You forgot the receipt. I turned and accepted the slip of paper, my voice barely a whisper as I replied, thanks. Can I ask you something? Why were you so intent on buying that particular painting? She inquired, her curiosity genuine. Charlene's smile was tinged with nostalgia as she answered, the man in the painting reminds me of my first love, the same man you just encountered. Her gaze drifted into the distance, as if she were lost in memories. We were together in college. He had a blue shirt just like that one he wore so often it faded almost beyond recognition. There was a vulnerability in her voice as she continued, I chose my career over him back then. It's one of my biggest regrets. The weight of her confession hung in the air, making it hard to breathe. I came back hoping to mend that mistake. I didn't want to be haunted by regret. Her expression turned wistful. Having the painting delivered tonight felt symbolic. I hoped it might remind him of our time together. Her words struck me like a physical blow, leaving me momentarily speechless. After all this time, doesn't it worry you that he might be with someone else? That he could be married? I asked, my heart pounding. Her response was swift and short, no. I made some discreet inquiries at the hospital. Everyone says he's single. The realization hit me like ice water. So that was why none of Bennett's colleagues had attended our engagement party. After 5 long years, he had never mentioned me to any of them. The drive home became a blur, my mind racing with thoughts I couldn't quite articulate. Once I was back in the large, eerily quiet house, I let the tears flow until there were no more left to shed. It was only then that Bennett finally returned home. He looked at me, his lips pressed into a tight line, and a silence stretched between us like a chasm. After what felt like an eternity, he spoke, his voice low and earnest. I'm sorry. I didn't plan to lie. He took a breath, as if gathering courage. Lena needed help with her move today. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to get the wrong idea. His eyes searched mine, pleading for understanding. Please believe me. It's strictly a colleague relationship. Once she's settled, aside from necessary work interactions, there will be nothing else. I studied him closely, trying to read the truth in his eyes. It was never easy to choose between the one who loves you and the one you love. In that moment, a thought crystallized in my mind. Bennett, if you can't bring yourself to choose, then I'll choose for you. It's fine. I understand, I said, my voice steady. Honestly, if I were in your position, I'd probably help her too. Bennett appeared taken aback, clearly surprised by my calm demeanor, by my lack of anger or tears. After a moment of silence, he ventured, why did you sell the painting? I paused, standing tall as I replied, she made a very generous offer. I kept my tone flat, unwilling to reveal the turmoil inside. The price was right. Bennett reached out, his fingers wrapping around my wrist, a gesture both tender and desperate. Maddie, don't be angry. If you want it back, I'm sure I can retrieve it from Lena. I shook my head firmly. No. It's clear she values that painting immensely. I wouldn't want to take that away from her. I wouldn't fight for a painting, and I wouldn't fight for a man, either. With a gentle but resolute motion, I pulled my wrist from his grasp and turned to ascend the stairs. The hospital is having its annual gala on Sunday, Bennett called after me, his voice laced with hope. Will you come with me? I hesitated, my heart fluttering at the invitation. For 5 long years, I had yearned for an invitation like this, a chance to step into his world, to be a part of his life. But he was asking me now, on the very day it felt like it no longer mattered. Some opportunities, once missed, are gone forever. The pain they leave behind is an indelible mark. No, I'm busy this weekend, I replied, my voice firm. Bennett's brow furrowed slightly, disappointment flickering across his face. The whole weekend? Yes, I confirmed. The whole weekend. I was occupied with visa paperwork, packing my bags, and preparing to say goodbye to him. As the weekend unfolded, an unusual stillness enveloped the house. Bennett chose not to attend the hospital gala. Instead, he devoted the entire day to me, from the moment he whisked into the kitchen to prepare breakfast in the early hours to the quiet intimacy of lying beside me in bed as night fell. This was a remarkable shift in our routine. Bennett had always been a man consumed by his work, a relentless pursuit that often led him to forego even the simplest pleasures of life. There were years when he barely took a break, his dedication bordering on obsession. In recent times, however, his schedule had loosened a bit, allowing for some semblance of flexibility. Yet, throughout our relationship, I had often found myself on the back burner, his career and personal ambitions taking precedence over what we shared. And now, there was Charlene, a new presence in his life that seemed to overshadow everything else. The reason for his availability today was likely rooted in guilt. Guilt over abandoning me at our engagement party, guilt for postponing what should have been our wedding, and guilt for all the lies that had woven themselves into the fabric of our relationship. He had every reason to feel remorseful, yet his feelings of guilt no longer held any weight for me. My mind wandered, lost in a haze of conflicting emotions, when I felt Bennett draw closer. His arm wrapped around my waist, a familiar gesture that sent a shiver down my spine. His breath was warm against my ear, and his voice was soft, almost pleading. Maddie. I instinctively turned my head away, avoiding the kiss he sought. It's that time of the month. I'm not feeling well. Bennett paused, his brow furrowing as he glanced at the calendar hanging on the wall. But you're not due until the 19th. Is it early? I had completely forgotten. Bennett had always been meticulous about tracking my cycle, and under his attentive care, it had become remarkably regular. Feeling a wave of discomfort wash over me, I averted my gaze. I murmured noncommittally. He didn't press for further explanation, releasing me from his embrace and rising from the bed. I'll make you some hot chocolate. It'll help warm you up, he said, his voice laced with concern as he headed toward the kitchen. Watching him leave, I felt a tumult of emotions swirl within me. How could someone be so incredibly attentive, yet remain so unwilling to truly love me in the way I needed? Within half an hour, Bennett returned, a steaming mug cradled in his hands. Let it cool a bit before you drink it. Finish it and then get some rest, he instructed gently, placing the mug on the bedside table. The hospital just sent over some patient files. I need to review them in the study. Don't wait up for me, he added, his tone shifting to businesslike. I nodded, watching him retreat with a sense of melancholy. I took a sip of the hot chocolate, its warmth spreading through me, and soon drifted off into a restless sleep. Not long after, the sound of the electronic lock jolted me awake. I turned to find his side of the bed empty. Puzzled, I got up and ventured to the study, but it was devoid of life. Bennett had left, and I couldn't help but wonder what could possibly require his attention at such an hour. In the past, I would have immediately jumped to the conclusion that it was an emergency surgery. But now, doubt not at me. I picked up my phone, my fingers trembling slightly as I opened Charlene's Twitter feed. To my dismay, her latest post was fresh, just 2 minutes old. Spontaneous sunrise trip. So grateful for a certain man who humors my whims and makes all my wishes come true. Attached to the tweet was a screenshot of a conversation, and there it was, Bennett's unmistakable profile picture. Sleep eluded me after that revelation. I stood by the window, the chilly dawn air biting at my skin, forcing my thoughts to clear. When I returned to the bedroom, I knew what I had to do. With a heavy heart, I removed my engagement ring, placing it gently in the study desk drawer, a symbolic return to Bennett. Then, I retrieved a scrapbook filled with his handwritten notes, each page a testament to a love that now felt painfully hollow. One by one, I fed those pages into the shredder, watching as they disappeared, leaving only remnants of what once was. I continued to pack, methodically sorting through my belongings as memories flooded my mind. Just as I was about to place my suitcase in the corner, Bennett returned, his clothes still damp with morning dew. He caught my gaze, his lips tightening for a brief moment. "When did you wake up?" I met his eyes with a calm facade. "Just now." "Where were you?" He seemed to relax slightly, a hint of relief washing over him. "Morning run. The air was great today." At his words, I nearly laughed, a bitter sound that caught in my throat. When had our relationship devolved into a web of deceit? Bennett wiped the light sheen of sweat from his brow and made his way to the kitchen. "Still having cramps? What would you like to eat?" "I'll make it for you," he offered, his voice filled with concern. I was about to decline his offer when the doorbell rang unexpectedly. Bennett turned, opening the door, and his expression shifted to one of surprise. "Mom, Dad? What brings you here?" As I caught sight of Edmund and Quintina Webster, a wave of apprehension washed over me. Quintina wasted no time, her frown deepening. "Benny, what's going on with you and Maddie? Why was the wedding cancelled?" Bennett's face blanched, shock evident in his features. "Who said it was cancelled?" Quintina held up her phone, her expression grave. "It was Maddie's message. Look, this is what your aunt received." The screen displayed the notification I had sent days earlier, a stark reminder of the rift that had opened between us. Bennett's expression hardened as he turned to me, his voice low and intense. "Maddie, is this true?" I found myself enveloped in a heavy silence, my mind racing as I contemplated how to respond to Bennett's declaration. Bennett, however, seemed to believe he had it all figured out. He turned back to his parents, his voice steady and reassuring. "The wedding isn't cancelled, it's merely been rescheduled. Maddie must not have communicated it clearly, which has led to this confusion. Mom, Dad, please head home. We'll send you the official date soon. Maddie and I are still getting married." His parents, somewhat reassured by his words, finally took their leave, their expressions a mix of concern and relief. As I observed Bennett's convincing performance, a bitter irony washed over me. Anyone observing him would assume he was wholeheartedly dedicated to this marriage. Yet, he was the very person who had left me standing alone at our engagement party, the one who had chosen to postpone our wedding. Once his parents had driven away, Bennett turned to face me, his expression tinged with remorse. "I'm truly sorry about what happened. I shouldn't have left you to handle everything by yourself at the party. Don't worry," he added, trying to sound confident, "nothing will interfere this time. The wedding will happen without any issues." I remained silent, my thoughts swirling. Without issues? That seems highly unlikely. This time, Bennett, I'll be the one walking away. Just then, his phone rang, slicing through the tension in the air. I recognized the ringtone immediately, Mariage d'Amour, a piece I had never heard him use before. Bennett answered the call, his demeanor shifting as Charlene's voice came through the receiver, clear and urgent. "Benny, I fell in the bathroom. Could you take me to the hospital?" Bennett hesitated, his gaze flickering towards me, uncertainty etched on his face. After a brief pause, he covered the receiver and whispered, "Lena doesn't know many people here since she just returned, so Go," I interrupted, unable to endure another round of justification. His lips tightened, frustration evident. "I'll just take her to the hospital and come straight back." And just like that, he was gone, slipping through the doorway, leaving me feeling as though a critical part of my heart was being surgically excised. Days passed without a word from Bennett. The only message I received that evening informed me he was busy with an important surgical case and wouldn't be returning anytime soon. Was there really a surgery, or was he simply with Charlene? I could no longer discern truth from lies in anything he said, and strangely enough, it no longer surprised me. I had grown indifferent to his explanations. His promises always seemed to come with exceptions when it involved Charlene. For me, they never appeared to apply. Determined to shift my focus away from him, I turned my attention to clearing out the rest of my belongings. The task proved to be more challenging than I had anticipated. Bennett, with his meticulous medical background, had maintained everything in perfect order. Yet, he had allowed me the freedom to disrupt his carefully organized closet. He had let me slide my colorful, chaotic sketches between the pages of his valuable medical textbooks, and even cleared half of his desk space for my comic books. I recalled asking him tentatively back then, "Am I distracting you?" The corner of his mouth had twitched, or perhaps I had imagined it. "No. Having you nearby is comforting." It had been one of those rare, genuinely peaceful moments we shared. How could I not have mistaken his tolerance for something deeper? But tolerance was just that, tolerance, not love. Bringing myself back to the present, I resumed gathering my sketches. Suddenly, a book slipped from the pile and thudded to the floor, scattering photographs and letters across the hardwood. I bent down to collect them, but froze when I realized what they were. These were photographs of Bennett and Charlene from their college years, moments frozen in time. The letters were old love notes exchanged during that time, filled with youthful passion and longing. The photos and letters had yellowed slightly with age, yet their edges remained perfectly smooth, a testament to his meticulous preservation. In stark contrast to this careful curation, Bennett's everyday kindness toward me felt insignificant. The way he treated me was hardly different from how he might treat any patient he encountered in the hospital. Suppressing the ache that clawed at my chest, I returned everything to its original place, pretending I had never seen any of it. Exhausted, I finally collapsed into bed, surrendering to a heavy sleep that enveloped me like a comforting blanket. Later that night, I was jolted awake by Quintina's frantic call. "Maddie, is Benny all right? Is his hand injured?" Confusion washed over me. "What are you talking about?" A sharp silence enveloped the line before her voice rose in urgency. "You don't know? It's all over Twitter. How can you not know what's happened to your own fiancé?" I quickly opened Twitter, my heart racing. The top trending story glared back at me in bold red text. New York Mount Sinai Hospital patient attack. Surgeon shields a woman from knife assault. The accompanying video showed an agitated man lunging towards Charlene with a blade. In a split second, Bennett stepped in front of her, pulling her behind him and raising his arm to block the attack. The knife sliced through his sleeve, narrowly missing him. It had been so close. If it had been just a few inches lower, it would have severed the tendons in his wrist, potentially ending his career forever. The video had been uploaded just a few hours before, yet its impact rippled through the community like a stone thrown into a still pond. By this point, the hospital had released a statement confirming that the assailant was securely in custody, and thankfully, no medical staff had sustained injuries. As the dust began to settle, public interest quickly pivoted towards Bennett and Charlene, two individuals whose lives had suddenly become intertwined in a way that captivated the masses. Both of them were undeniably attractive, and soon, their college romance resurfaced in the online chatter, with countless netizens proclaiming them to be a match made in heaven. "They're so perfect for each other. A surgeon risking his hands? That's true love. Can they just get married already?" one comment exclaimed with enthusiasm. "I just read their story on Reddit. It's the ultimate second chance romance," another chimed in, their excitement palpable. Fate keeps pulling them back together after all these years, making them realize they never stopped loving each other. "Seriously, someone needs to write this love story," a third comment added, weaving a narrative that felt almost mythical. As I scrolled through these comments, a sense of unease washed over me. I finally broke the silence into the phone, realizing that Quintina was still waiting for my response. "I understand, Mrs. Webster. I'll go check on him right now," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil brewing inside me. After hanging up, I made my way to the hospital, my mind racing with thoughts of what I might find. Navigating the sterile hallways, I finally arrived at his office. Just as I was about to knock, I heard the muffled sound of Charlene's sobs seeping through the door. "This is all my fault. I shouldn't have gotten involved. "Your hand was nearly injured," she lamented, her voice thick with remorse. I could picture the faint red mark on his arm where the knife had grazed him, a stark reminder of the chaos that had unfolded. But Bennett, ever the composed one, responded with a calm demeanor, patting her shoulder reassuringly. "It wasn't your fault. It was an accident," he said softly, his voice a soothing balm to her frayed nerves. In that moment, Charlene seized the chance to envelop him in a hug, and I could almost feel the tension in the air. Bennett stiffened for just a moment, as if caught off guard, but he didn't push her away. They stood there, wrapped in an embrace, while I leaned against the wall outside his office, feeling a wave of numbness wash over me. I turned and slipped quietly into the stairwell, needing a moment to gather my thoughts. I waited until Charlene finally left before I made my entrance into Bennett's office. He looked genuinely surprised to see me, his brows furrowing in confusion. "What are you doing here?" "Your parents saw the news online and are worried," I replied bluntly. "You should call them." I turned to leave, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on me. "Wait!" Bennett called out, rising quickly from his chair and catching my arm. "Are you angry?" I shook my head, trying to convey my indifference. "No." His hands and career were his own to navigate. If he wanted to risk them for Charlene, that was a choice he had to make. This had nothing to do with me. Bennett fell silent for a long moment, lost in thought, before speaking suddenly. "Maybe we should just keep our original wedding date." His suggestion caught me off guard, and I blinked in surprise. "That date was 3 days ago." "It's past," I pointed out, my voice laced with disbelief. He looked uncertain, his brow furrowing. "I must have the dates mixed up. Let's go home together." He finished speaking with a soft exhale that carried a weight of either exhaustion or relief. I heard it but chose to ignore the implications. When we arrived home, Bennett noticed the difference immediately. "You've cleaned," he remarked, his voice tinged with surprise. To truly erase all traces of myself, I'd have to scrub the entire house. Now, nearly everything visible seemed to belong solely to him. "You prefer things tidy," I replied, trying to keep my tone light. He pressed his lips together, a vague unease settling over him that he couldn't quite articulate. "You didn't need to do all this." "I could have helped when I got back," he started, his voice trailing off. Quintina called me again, her voice breaking through the thick silence that had enveloped us. I handed my phone to Bennett and retreated to the bedroom, needing a moment to collect my thoughts. The calendar on the wall displayed my departure date circled in red. I picked up a pen and crossed out today's date with a firm stroke. 2 days remained. As I finished, Bennett entered with my phone in hand. "Finished?" "Let's get some sleep," I said, reaching for it without noticing the troubled expression etched on his face. But he held the phone tighter, his gaze intense. "You got a message. Your passport is ready for pickup. Are you planning a trip?" "Where are you going?" he asked, curiosity mingling with something deeper. I hesitated, caught off guard by the unexpected inquiry. "Yes, I'm going abroad. There are major exhibitions in Marseille and Paris." Bennett relaxed his grip on my phone, but the tension lingered in the air. "I see. Did you send the new wedding date to our guests yet?" I asked, trying to shift the conversation back to safer ground. "Let's discuss it tomorrow." "It's too late tonight," I suggested, taking my phone and slipping it under my pillow before turning off the light. That night, neither of us broke the silence, though we both lay awake, each lost in our own thoughts. We lay beside each other, yet it felt as if we inhabited entirely separate worlds. There was no returning to what we once were. I lost track of time, and before I knew it, sleep had finally claimed me. The world around me faded into a comforting darkness, but my peace was short-lived. I awoke to the sound of hurried footsteps and the rustling of clothes in the dim light of the bedroom. Bennett was moving about with an urgency I had never seen in him before, the calm demeanor he usually wore replaced by a frantic energy. "What does Charlene need now?" The question slipped from my lips before I even had a chance to think it through. The moment the words left me, I felt a pang of regret. He paused mid-motion, his gaze locking onto mine, a mixture of surprise and concern crossing his features. "Maddie," he began, but then his expression shifted as if he were grappling with something heavier than just the morning's chaos. Then, in a tone that felt almost accusatory, he asked, "Maddie, was this your doing?" A frown creased my brow, confusion washing over me. "Was what my doing?" I replied, my voice steady despite the turmoil brewing inside. He quickly averted his eyes, shaking his head as if to cast away the thought. "Nothing. Lena's dealing with a complicated situation involving me. I have to go." And just like that, he was gone, leaving me in a whirlwind of unanswered questions and a sinking feeling in my stomach. As the door clicked shut behind him, I grabbed my phone, only to be met with an avalanche of notifications flooding my Twitter feed. Curiosity piqued, I opened the messages and was immediately struck by a wave of support mingled with outrage directed at me. It was then that I realized Bennett and Charlene were trending again, but this time, the tone had shifted dramatically. The comments were merciless. Someone had unearthed photographs from my engagement party, complete with timestamps. The timeline was damning, it matched perfectly with the day Charlene had posted her photo. Suddenly, it all clicked into place. Everyone was connecting the dots, and the realization hit like a punch to the gut. Bennett had left our engagement party to be with Charlene. The image of the perfect couple, which had been celebrated just a day prior, crumbled before my very eyes. Bennett was now the villain, the unfaithful fiancé. Charlene was the homewrecker, the woman who had shattered our lives. The voices that had once cheered for them now echoed with disdain and condemnation. His fiancé must be devastated. Left at the party while he ran to another woman. That's Madeline Brooke, the renowned painter. If someone like Madeline can be betrayed, what hope is there for the rest of us? In that moment, clarity washed over me. Bennett's strange question wasn't just a fleeting thought, he genuinely believed I had orchestrated the online backlash against Charlene. I turned off my phone, a bitter smile creeping onto my lips. After 5 years of sharing my life with him, his question revealed a painful truth: he had never truly understood me. If he had, he would have known I had zero tolerance for betrayal. The moment I discovered it, I would walk away without a second thought. I finished gathering my belongings, my passport in one hand, and headed back home. Tomorrow marked my departure day, and I was ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. That evening, I found myself in the kitchen, preparing dinner with the hope of sharing one last meal with Bennett. I envisioned us sitting together, talking about our plans, reminiscing about the good times. But as the minutes turned into hours, the food grew cold, and he never returned. I did, however, catch glimpses of him online. There he was, alongside Charlene, posting a clarification video that nobody seemed to believe. The final key player, me, remained silent, and that silence spoke volumes. At precisely 11 p.m., my phone rang. It was Bennett. His voice was weary, tinged with desperation. "Maddie, you've seen what's happening online? You know Lena and I were innocent. Could you post something to clarify things?" I glanced at the plane ticket and passport resting on my desk, the weight of the decision heavy in the air. "Alright," I replied quietly, my heart heavy with resignation. "I'll post something in the morning." I could hear the relief in his voice as he responded, "Thank you for understanding. I can't come back yet, but once this settles, I'll make it up to you. I've requested time off for our honeymoon. You wanted to see those exhibitions abroad, right? We'll go together." I opened my mouth to respond, but before I could articulate my thoughts, Charlene's voice cut through the air. "Benny, I need you." His response was immediate, abrupt. "I have to go," he said, and the call ended as quickly as it had begun. Staring at the darkened screen, I finally allowed myself to voice the words that had been trapped inside me. "I don't need it, Bennett. My life has nothing to do with you anymore." The house stood in complete silence, the weight of my declaration hanging in the air like a thick fog. The following morning, at 7 a.m., I rolled my suitcase to the entryway, my heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and fear. I laid out the house keys, Bennett's credit card, and a letter on the console table, each item representing a chapter of my life I was ready to close. For a fleeting moment, I found myself staring at the silver key. He had placed it in my palm when I moved in, a symbol of trust and commitment, even though the digital lock had made it somewhat redundant. Maddie, he had said solemnly, from today, you're the lady of this house. You hold the key. Whether you use it is your choice. Now, my choice was to reclaim my identity. The key had served its purpose, and it was time to move on. With a deep breath, I walked out without glancing back. By 8 a.m., I was at the airport, the air buzzing with possibility. Before boarding, I opened Twitter and sent out the clarification I had prepared the night before. There was no actual sound as I pressed send, but in that instant, I could have sworn I felt a gust of wind, a sense of finality accompanying that single tap. Hello, this is Madeline Brooke. About all the rumors online these past couple of days, I've received countless DMs from fans and followers. So here's my official statement: Charlene Morrow never came between Bennett Webster and me. She's not any kind of other woman. The truth is, Bennett and I were over the moment he left our engagement party. Everything that's happened between him and Charlene since then has nothing to do with me. So here's to Bennett and Charlene, wishing you both all the best. Bennett had been caught in a whirlwind of rumors surrounding him and Charlene since the previous day, and it felt like a storm brewing just above his head. As dawn broke and he rushed towards the hotel, his fingers danced nervously over his phone, constantly refreshing Madeline's Twitter feed. Each update felt like a lifeline, yet also a source of anxiety. At precisely 8:30, Madeline logged in, her timing impeccable, and posted a clarification that sent a jolt through him. A sharp pang of guilt pierced Bennett's heart. He was acutely aware that he had wronged Madeline in this tangled mess. Determined to rectify things, he promised himself that after the wedding today, he would carve out time to be with her, to talk, to explain everything. With a sense of dread, Bennett opened the video and watched Madeline as she clarified the situation. But with every word she spoke, his frown deepened, a knot tightening in his stomach. What exactly did she mean when she wished him and Charlene well? Wasn't she, in essence, confirming the very rumors that were swirling around them? Bennett knew Madeline was upset about the Charlene situation, but he had his reasons he hadn't yet had the opportunity to share with her. In her attempt to clarify, Madeline was only stoking the flames of speculation. Why would she do this? A wave of unease washed over him, filling him with anxiety. As he hurried into the hotel, the atmosphere felt oddly still, almost hauntingly quiet. Where was Madeline? Bennett's brow furrowed as he approached the hotel manager. Isn't there supposed to be a wedding today? Why is this place still bare and unadorned? Madeline had always been the one to manage these arrangements, and he had trusted her implicitly. The thought of such a major oversight was unfathomable. With the wedding looming, he felt a tight knot of worry in his chest. It couldn't be postponed again. Mr. Webster, wasn't your wedding with Ms. Brooke cancelled? The manager's voice was hesitant, tinged with uncertainty. Did you not discuss this clearly with Ms. Brooke? Bennett was momentarily stunned, a wave of absurd disbelief crashing over him. Impossible, he muttered instinctively. Madeline had never mentioned anything about canceling the wedding. They were meant to exchange vows. Suddenly, his mind buzzed with confusion, a fog settling in. No, that couldn't be right, she had mentioned it. He recalled a few days prior when Edmund and Quintina had dropped by, casually mentioning that Madeline had canceled the wedding. At the time, he had dismissed it as a mere delay, assuming it was why the guests had been informed. Had Madeline not refuted it back then? The more he pondered, the more connections began to form in his mind. When he had insisted on getting married on schedule, her calm demeanor now seemed oddly out of place. It was too serene, so serene that he realized she hadn't been looking forward to the wedding at all. Back then, he had been consumed by guilt, fretting over whether Madeline was upset because of his entanglement with Charlene, oblivious to her peculiar behavior. Could it be that she had intended to cancel the wedding all along? Bennett turned to the manager, urgency creeping into his voice. "Who informed you that the wedding was cancelled, and when did this happen?" "Ms. Brooke, on the day of your engagement ceremony," the manager replied, his tone cautious. Bennett felt his expression harden, disbelief washing over him. "She didn't reschedule?" The manager shook his head slowly. "No, she did not." Silence enveloped Bennett as he stood there, his mind racing. Inside, his heart felt like it was caught in a tempest of chaos. How could this be happening? How could Madeline do something like this? She loved him deeply, there was no justification for her not wanting to marry him. Madeline was not the type to act without a compelling reason. Frantically, Bennett pulled out his phone and dialed Madeline's number, but it rang without answer. Then, just like that, her phone was turned off. She knew, and yet she was intentionally avoiding him. No matter how many times he tried to reach her, he was met with silence. Before he could gather his thoughts, a commotion erupted outside the hotel entrance. Guests began to trickle in, one after another, their expressions shifting from confusion to disbelief as they took in the barren scene. What's happening? Isn't this a five-star hotel? How can a wedding be so poorly arranged? The manager glanced at Bennett, his expression grave. "Mr. Webster, this situation reflects on our hotel's reputation. You need to address this, or I will have no choice but to notify security." Edmund and Quintina soon arrived, concern etched on their faces. "Benny, what's going on? Where's Madeline?" It was as if a light flickered back to life within Bennett. He hoarsely replied, "The wedding is cancelled." "What?" The room erupted into a cacophony of voices, everyone speaking at once. "What is wrong with you two? First the engagement, now this wedding, one moment you're getting married, the next you're not. It's like a game. Benny, you're already 30. How can you treat something as significant as marriage like a child's play? Standing here isn't going to solve anything. What do we do now?" Bennett felt like he was in the eye of a storm, surrounded by a whirlwind of doubts and questions. Suddenly, the realization hit him hard. On the day of their engagement party, Madeline must have faced all of this turmoil alone. Her parents were gone, and most of the guests were his relatives and friends. The humiliation she must have endured was likely far worse than what he was experiencing now. The noise around him pounded in his ears, and his head throbbed painfully. All he yearned for was to find Madeline. Where was she? She was probably still at home, hiding away from it all. If her actions stemmed from the engagement party, a desire to make him feel the same pain, then she had succeeded. But was there truly nothing they could discuss calmly? Did she have to go to such lengths to feel vindicated? Frustration bubbled up within Bennett, raw and palpable. "Mom, Dad, please manage things here. I'm going to find Maddie." With those words, he dashed out, urgency propelling him home. He drove with fervor, his heart racing as he pulled into the driveway of their villa. As soon as he stepped inside, he instinctively called out, "Maddie, where are you?" Silence echoed back at him. Just as he was about to venture further into the house, something caught his eye by the entrance. Keys, a bank card, and a letter lay there, stark against the floor. A wave of dread washed over him, tightening his chest. With trembling hands, Bennett tore open the envelope. He unfolded the letter, revealing 2 lines of delicate handwriting that felt like daggers to his heart. "Bennett, from the moment you left me at the engagement party, there was never going to be a wedding. You lied to me, and I lied to you. From now on, we're even. You don't have to force yourself to marry me." Bennett stood there, frozen in place, his mind racing as he stared at the words that seemed to blur and twist on the page. It was as if he was reading a foreign language, one he could not decipher. What did it truly mean to wrong himself to marry her? In all his years, he had never once felt wronged. A wave of certainty surged through him. He desired nothing more than to marry Madeline. It was an absolute necessity, a calling he couldn't ignore. But why would she utter such a thing? If her words were a reaction to the engagement party, then yes, he had misled her, but surely, he could clarify. Yet, Madeline had left him without a word, without affording him the chance to explain his side. Bennett felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He couldn't fathom that Madeline would simply walk away like that. After 5 years of shared laughter, tears, and dreams, how could she let go so effortlessly? He refused to believe it. His eyes darted to the other two items on the table, the bank card and the keys. These were symbols of commitment, the very essence of a stable relationship. Money and home, yet she had not taken either. A pang of anguish shot through Bennett, and he felt as if the air had been knocked from his lungs. He ascended the stairs with heavy steps, moving from the master bedroom to the guest room, then to the walk-in closet, and finally the study. But there was no trace of her anywhere. The wardrobe stood bare, the drawers gaped empty, everything that had once belonged to Madeline was gone. In desperation, Bennett drove to Madeline's gallery. This place was the heart of her career, it was where she poured her soul into her art. Typically, Madeline oscillated between home and the gallery, and with her absence at home, it was reasonable to assume she would be there. As he parked in front of the gallery and approached the entrance, a security guard intercepted him, blocking his path. Before he could utter a single word, Martina, who had evidently been informed of the situation, emerged from inside. Her expression was cool and detached as she regarded him. "I know you're here for Maddie. She's not here. You should leave." "That's impossible." With determination, Bennett brushed past the security guard, closing the distance to Martina. "If she's genuinely not here, why are you all acting so defensive? Where else could she possibly go besides the gallery?" Martina waved her hand dismissively, her demeanor unfazed as she prevented the security from forcibly ejecting him. "The gallery has already changed hands." Bennett shook his head in disbelief. "You're her agent. You're here, so she must be." "I'm no longer her agent. She has transferred the gallery to me," Martina clarified, her tone unwavering. Bennett felt a surge of disbelief wash over him. He knew how much Madeline cherished her artistic endeavors. "That's impossible. This is her life's work. How could she just abandon it?" He locked eyes with Martina, his voice firm. "You know where she is." Martina shook her head, a hint of frustration in her eyes. "I don't know. In fact, I only discovered she was leaving a few days ago when she transferred the gallery to me." "You're her fiancé. If you don't know, how can you expect me to?" Martina had witnessed the chaos online. She truly believed Madeline deserved better. Such a remarkable woman, yet she was willing to sacrifice her talents to cook and clean for a man. A doctor's hands are precious, but aren't an artist's hands equally invaluable? Bennett felt defeated by the lack of answers. After several fruitless exchanges, he resigned himself to the truth. Madeline really wasn't there. He turned on his heel and made his way back to his car, sinking into the seat, his thoughts spiraling in a chaotic swirl. Where could she possibly have gone? For 5 long years, Madeline had been the sun around which his world orbited. Her only family, her father, had passed away 2 years prior, leaving her with a gaping void. Now she had even relinquished the gallery. Where could she find solace? Bennett was often absorbed in his own busy life, unaware of the places Madeline found joy in visiting. She was not one to frequent social gatherings. Her outings were rare, usually for inspiration, and even then, she would inform him and never stray for more than a week. This was the first time in 5 years that he felt completely in the dark about her whereabouts. Normally so composed, Bennett was now a bundle of nerves. He drove aimlessly through the bustling streets, scanning the crowds, his heart racing with the hope that one of those faces might belong to Madeline, his beloved bride. She was on her way home, on her way to their home. Just as he was about to head back and search again, his phone buzzed with an incoming call from a colleague at the hospital. "Come to the hospital immediately. Things have spiraled out of control. Someone has filed a complaint, and the director needs you back right away." This is all for today. We are ending on chapter 10. If you would like to hear more of this story, please like and comment so I know you want a part 2.